All right, so wanted to make a quick video about a move I just recently made. I've talked about this before in past videos, and I think I'll find it to link in the description because I've done this before. But stepping back away from things, sometimes you look at. I'm a very results oriented, goal oriented person. So sometimes you look at where you're at and what you've achieved and where you want to be. Um, and I won't say it's not good enough, but it's not where you want to be. You want to be somewhere else, right? So even with the home I have now, like I want to be here, but I also want to be somewhere else financially, job wise, in my career, so on and so forth. So recently, I think it was man, it was this past weekend. Ooh, the 29th, I'd say August 29th or so. I just somewhat out of nowhere because I had been thinking about this for a while. But I had a conversation, it was like a back and forth with Ed Anderson about a subject, and I thought about how the energy that I was putting into it, and the energy I was even putting into that group and other groups and other things in my life, and I just said, this doesn't really make sense. I need to make a change. And Ed talks about this all the time, and I think this is totally true. A lot of people want things to get better, but they don't want to change, right? So, or they want things to get better without change. So, for instance, you want to make more money, but you just don't want to leave your job. You don't want to increase your skills. You don't want to sharpen yourself. You don't want to. Sorry. Oh crap! Come on. You don't want to do the things that are necessary in terms of hard work or in terms of you know the, yeah, to hard work, or in terms of the mental work that you have to do on yourself to actually improve your current situation. A lot of people want things to get better without any change whatsoever. um, Also, things been happening here at the house, just going back and forth even with my mom. Actually, not even going back and forth, just going off with my mom about some stuff. And it's hard to deal with, a person in her situation, and she's dealing with depression and stuff like that. And I can't say I handle it the best way, but also I have to look at it and say, hey, listen, you need to go and fix yourself. And I'm trying to help you, and trying to give you a foundation so you can do that. But I'm not going to sit here, and I'm not your therapist. I'm just not. Um, and not I wouldn't say it's the best way, but things are happening. So for the past couple of months now, I've just been looking at what I've been in, or what I've been doing, and not liking it. It's not moving fast enough. It's not where I want it to be. Even more recently, or also recently, again, that led up to these things, like the conversation I had with the back and forth I had with Ed was the deciding factor, like kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. But it's one of those things that's been building up for a long period of time. It's not the thing that made me do it, right? And no offense to him or anything else like that, but it was just a deciding factor. And I was just like, I don't. I want something different, and I'm gonna have to do different to make this happen. And this is a part of what I have to do. And I'll get into what I did. It's just, I got out of a couple groups and stuff like that, nothing serious. So I'm just setting the table for that. I made this video before, but I wanted to make this a little bit different and a little bit more concise because that video is like 20 minutes long. Um, so I looked at what I was doing and the results I'm getting, and I said I don't want this, or I want better. As I said, I was going for some jobs. I was looking for junior level programming positions, but nobody wants junior. Everybody wants senior. Nobody wants intermediate. They don't have, these aren't the words that they use. And also, this is not what they want. They want somebody that is, the guy that's going to come in all in one, build their whole web application, so on and so forth. And I know I'm not totally that guy. I've worked pretty hard. You guys see that, I do the obfuscate streams, off time and everything else like that. But I do these streams, and I'm like, well, I'm trying to research. I'm trying to get better and trying to refine my craft. We're trying to refine my skills and sharpen myself. And I looked at it and I said, this doesn't make any sense that I'm not the quote unquote senior level, and I have experience in networking, but I don't have experience in programming. I don't have experience with build tools. I don't have experience with working with teams, doing pull requests, and all these other things, so on and so forth. And some of these things you can learn on the job, but then some of these things that you have to learn. by yourself as well. Or sorry, some of the things you can learn by yourself, but some of these things you can't just learn on the job, or at on the job and in a senior level position. You have to just know it already. So it's like, okay, I gotta cut my teeth. I gotta do what I need to get to that point. So I got turned down. One job was they wanted me to move to Atlanta. That was the second interview, but the first one, I thought I did all right on the interview, but there was a couple things where it showed my inexperience, and I kind of understood that going in, and it sucked, but it is what it is. I don't think I did horribly on the interview. I will say that, but I will say that I could understand why they didn't think I was the right fit, and I'm working to change that. A part of what I'm gonna do, or part of what I've done thus far, is probably about three major things I'll say. One, the time that I spend in chat rooms and messaging apps and stuff like that. That's kind of like my social media. Even some stuff on YouTube, but that's kind of like my social media. That's how I the sending of the booty pics and the videos of the OnlyFans chicks, or the articles about OnlyFans and all this other stuff. And it's just like, sometimes you see what you do in terms of the energy you put into the people that you're sending, like, the things that you're sending in these messaging apps. Like, I'm sending messages of women that are making more money than me in most cases. Sorry, not in most cases, but in some cases, they're putting themselves out there, but and you could say something like, well, I'm not supporting her, but it's like, no, you're sharing her you're sharing her videos and all this other stuff. You're going, wow. You and your friends are looking at it, and you're going like, holy crap, but it doesn't. It's not something where. You can't say that you're not, quote unquote, indulging in it. You can't say you're not supporting it, that you're not a part of that world or what have you, and you're sharing these videos or what have you. Also, what was I putting into these in these chat groups? I wasn't getting what I wanted out of it because of what I was putting into it. I mean, I could have been in some of these chat groups with some of these guys, and we could be talking more business. We could be talking, making investments. We could be talking, okay, I'm going to go do this and I go do that, so on and so forth. Like, like we could be talking about expatriation or expatriation. We could be talking about travel, other things. But what are we talking about? Like, we talk about the things that we talk about in the manosphere, things that we don't like, things that we don't like about the environment, the way that we want things to change, and the way that we want things to be, and what we're doing, and or what we should be doing in terms of the message that we're putting out there, or the angles that we're taking, and talking about the angles that we're taking. And in some cases, when you look at some of the angles that we're taking, you'll have talks, but it's like, the vision is the same. We're trying to get to the same spot in a sense, and that's kind of that's kind of the thing I looked at, and I was just like, okay, we can talk about this all the time, but at the end of the day, we want to be in the same position, or we want to reach the same goal in terms of what we're doing to the environment to make it better. And I said, wow, okay, putting a lot of energy into that. Like, so I left one Telegram group, a Discord group, and 2 WhatsApp groups. I had like a WhatsApp group with like a friend of mine, Dave, who created it. And it was created about guns. Now it's just talking about fuck shit and whatever, and all types of other stuff, and just going back and forth about stuff. So it was a good group. And then a Jamaican group, which is a little bit bigger, and there was a lot of people in there, and of course there was like a lot of Jamaican Jamaican oriented posts and videos and stuff like that, so that was good. Telegram group, we talked about manosphere stuff. Discord group, also about manosphere stuff, but that was new and I wasn't in that too much. But there was a lot of activity in there, and then you can kind of see where it's like, what you post in there, right? Like, I posted somewhat some financial stuff in there as well, saying, hey guys, you need to do this to make sure, or to get yourself into a better place, so on and so forth, financially. And you can kind of see where, the audience isn't really going for that type of stuff, right? Not too much. A couple people will pick it up, and those are the people that you worry about. Quality, not quantity. And then that was on the 29th. I got out of those 4 groups. And then I went ahead and I put my 2 weeks notice into my night job. So I'm going to be, quote unquote, reclaiming my time, um, getting my time back in terms of my nights and some of my weekends and stuff like that. Also, some of my energy. I've gained quite a bit of weight because I just work, and it's hard to do any workouts and then want to do work and everything else like that. And especially on the weekends, finding the energy to do things. I've become a little bit lazier. So I've been working that night job for about 3 months now. I've made probably a total of, I've taken home probably a total of like 4 grand or so, or probably, yeah, probably a little bit, 41 under 4,200 grand take home, by next check, because this next week is my last week. So and I think Labor Day is coming up or something like that. But I just looked at it and I was like, okay, I'm not making enough here. And for the amount of work that I'm doing, it was probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago where I had to do like crazy amounts of work. And I looked at it and I was like, I'm making $10.50 an hour. And although I was putting $125 a week plus another $100 a week into $125 a week into the cryptocurrency market, and then another $100 a week into the stock market, I said, this doesn't make any sense. This is, I could be doing other things. I could be doing things that can make me more money in the future, but it's just not going to make me money right now. And I've talked about this. That's my alarm to go to work. I talked about this even before, where it's just like, the amount of work that I have to do, or sorry, the amount of work that's needed to actually build something, like build stuff on Upwork. So I've come up with a couple plans with that to kind of re-engage with Upwork and get better with that. Just because I've just been tired, man. That takes away a lot, not just time, but just energy. Not doing the workouts the same. I bring dumbbells with me, but it's just like I'm looking at my weight and it's slowly going up back to where it was, and I was like, okay, I don't like that. I'm not making enough money for all the pros don't outweigh the cons, or the cons outweigh the pros here, and literally speaking even. And I was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Even with just going to a juice-based diet, still gaining weight, and it's just like, okay, this doesn't even make any sense here. Or sorry, going to a juice-based diet, and then I'm not doing the extra stuff. So then it's just like, why even do this? So start eating regular foods again. So I gotta put that in there, because you're not gonna just gain weight off a juice-based diet. Just to be honest about that. So I looked at that and I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. If I'm gonna have to do this, I'm gonna have to get back to doing the 2 mile walks around my property. Get back to doing the weight training exercises and stuff like that. Get back to pumping the iron and doing whatever else. I'm doing the dumbbells and my arms are like benefiting from it, because these damn things, it's like, there's less and less fat on it. But the thing is, I'm gaining weight in other areas, and I'll lose it pretty quickly once I get back on this. So there's that. I went ahead and put my 2 weeks notice into my night job. To be honest, with my night job, it gives me more money, most definitely, and that's great. But it doesn't make things that much better. I would put it like that. Alrighty, and the third and final thing, which is what I did today, or just a moment ago, right before making this video, is I deleted my account on Plenty of Fish, or dating app. And yes, I've gotten women off of Plenty of Fish before, women that were girlfriends for longer periods of time, and then also women that was it ain't doing it for too long. So along with the usual stuff that I used to do and everything else like that. So I used to do bounce between Plenty of Fish and all this other stuff and do all types of stuff. And I was like, you know what? I've deleted my account for Plenty of Fish before. Not saying I won't be back or anything like that, but I said I spend too much time, and I looked at what I was doing, because on these apps nowadays, you can actually track how much time you're putting into these apps, and I don't have that on Plenty of Fish or anything else that I'm on, like even YouTube or whatever. Or I don't look at that, I should say. But I know mentally I'm putting a lot of time into these messaging apps, Plenty of Fish, and then of course all the time in my job. And I'm like, no, the time that I'd be spending at my job, I could be using that to sharpen my skills and get that senior level position, get that senior level experience or knowledge, I should say. And then go on to a job where I can actually get that senior level experience. And I just looked at it and I was just like, Mike, you could be doing a lot better, but for you to do better, you're gonna have to get rid of a couple things. You're gonna have to let go. The women I was talking to, like I was talking to like two women on there, man. Like the conversations are usually dry as shit. I gotta carry them. The last two, they weren't too bad. Like we were having a little bit of back and forth, but I could see it was like looking at it, it's like this ain't gonna go nowhere, bro. Like you're here to waste time. You want just friends or some BS, or you got kids, and it's just like I know I'm not gonna do nothing with you, and you got kids, so I'm just wasting my time. It's like why even like go any further with that? So it's pretty easy to cut it off and call it a day. One chick was just like, I understand, but that's kind of odd, and I was like, all right, cool. I mean, that's the one with kids, and it's like whatever. And then the other chick was like, okay, and then laughing emojis, like bullshit kind of deal. I guess that's the assumption that I make, and I was like, all right, cool, I can understand that. I can't really say it's just like a big deal. So again, that was another one where like you can cut off that app in terms of the amount of time that I would put into it, and damn bug. In terms of like the amount of time that I put into it, honestly, I would just copy and paste all the different messages, go through liking chicks' pictures, and then liking them so that, like, because Plenty of Fish, you had like a 25 message limit per day or per 24 hours. And I would always hit that because I'd copy and paste the same damn message. Like, I was just like, hey, my name is Michael. How are you doing? That's literally it. Because, with those, in terms of understanding women and understanding how dating is and how superficial it is, you got to have the right picture, so on and so forth. And after that, like, they're attracted by looks, and that actually understanding women and mostly understanding just human behavior, like we're looks oriented, we're visual creatures. So it's just like, if they don't like the picture or pictures, then it doesn't matter what I say. Like I can give her like a poem and all this other stuff and a whole essay about my whole life and be this interesting person. You ain't that dude. It's just that simple. So I usually always kept it real simple, in terms of like what I did on dating apps, in terms of the initial message on what I did on dating apps. And what I would often do is about 2 to 3 questions in, I would stop asking questions, and I would let conversations die. And I would let conversations die mainly because it's like it shows I have a saying in terms of, or I have a thought process in terms of like looking at women and saying, simply put, if a woman likes you, she'll write a paragraph. You can't stop her from talking. She's gonna keep talking. The last chick that I like really went out and dated, which was back in like February. Yeah, I think it was like the day before Valentine's Day or something like that. Valentine's Day was like a Sunday. So I dated a day before Valentine's Day, and we went on a date and everything like that. But talking with her was a back and forth. It was easy to get the number. It was, or like the number was just like, hey, yo, listen, here's my number. We're not doing this. I'm not going to be doing these long messages. And it wasn't hard. It wasn't like a serious ultimatum or anything else like that. So, also, I don't put a lot into it as well. Because, I mean, look at my appearance. Like, I don't really. It's like, hey, listen, man, take it or leave it. And most women just leave it. So, I have to admit that. So, when I look at. Sorry, a little bad beard there. So when I look at all of this and everything else, I just said, these are the things that are taking up the most time in my life, and I want other things to take up time. Maybe watch more anime. Definitely learn more on the in Udemy.com. So I'm in a course right now about advanced JavaScript, and I'm actually enjoying it quite a bit. I listen to it while I'm at work. At least for about an hour per night, and then go over some of the videos, and some of the concepts, and take it slow and try to get better understanding. Also look up things in terms of articles and research. Also thinking about new projects that I want to do. Re-engaging with Upwork. Want to start using. I applied for the Upwork API. You have to actually give your driver's license and a utility bill and all types of stuff for that, because I guess money's involved and all that other stuff. But dealing with Upwork and their API, and I want to meld that with the Upwork. I want to meld the Upwork API along with Discord, and then have a nice Discord bot with that, where it's going to feed me the jobs. It's going to do all the searches for me every hour. It's going to look for all the jobs and everything else like that, and do whatever I needed to do. So these are things that I'm doing to change my result. And this video is 20 minutes long too. But these are things I'm doing to change my result, to get a better result, to actually look at my, like taking a look at my life and saying, hey, I don't like this result and I want a better result. So for me to get a better result, I have to quote unquote do better. And I have to quote unquote do something different. If I want more money, I'm going to have to do more. I have no problem doing more, but sometimes it bums me out that I'm not able to get the money that I want or pull down the salary that I want on demand in a sense. But that shows me that there's something that's lacking, something that I'm not convincing those people at a six-figure range for one job as opposed to like six-figure between two jobs. You know, and then also have to deal with the lack of opportunity around here locally, and then, you know, deal with like remote places and things like that. So I looked at myself and I was found wanting, and I made changes. I made changes in the energy that I put out there, the media that I consume. I made changes in how I'm spending my time. I'm making a large change in terms of who actually has access to my time, in terms of my night job. I've made changes in the people that I talk to. Nothing against people that were in the groups or anything like that, but I wasn't doing what was needed to actually take advantage or proper advantage of those groups. And I have to look at it and say, hey, listen, I didn't do the proper networking. I didn't talk to people like Jesse Veal. I didn't talk to Don Calypso about anything else or anything further, and you know, tap into his wealth of information, knowledge, and connections within the actual space. Even LAR or anything else like that. You know, like all these different people that I could have had access to in these different groups, or even in other groups on WhatsApp, you know, guys that are multimillionaires and not taking their advice on certain things. And that's my fault. And that's what I put into that. And it's just like, of course you're not going to get out what you want because you're not even putting in good shit. And, or you're not putting in the things that, you know, like I was putting in stuff that was manosphere related, but what is that going to do in terms of my life and career? What is that going to do in terms of my career, not my life? It does change your mindset, but what is that going to do in terms of my career? So, and those are the changes that I wanted to make. So yeah, this video is just as long as the other one, but I think this one's a little bit more coherent and a little bit more laser focused. So I hope you guys, in a sense, use this as a thought or help you guys in terms of like looking at what you're doing, do a bit of introspection. You know, we have people in the Ibmore space that don't even do the I. You know, you can just tell by the way they talk and what they're doing and stuff like that. And I think this requires for us to be better men, to be better people, to be more involved in our own community and society. We have to do these things to actually improve ourselves. And a part of that is making these changes, doing the introspection, looking into yourself and saying, this is not what I want, and I need to nip this in the bud. Do experiments where necessary. Don't look at it as a failure. Just look at it as, hey, we ain't doing that again. And make improvements from there. As I always say, you know, if you're not taking what I say with a grain of salt, then you're low on sodium. Do your research, look into these things a little bit more, look into yourself more importantly, and make the changes that you want so you can be the not just a better person, but the person you want to be and have the results that you want. Alrighty, peace.